we're pouring water into a bathtub that has a giant hole ripped in the bottom.
Well, presidential candidate Andrew Yang, he put out a sweeping new tech plan to regulate and reform big tech yesterday.
Final question. You have a lot of following online, and there's some part of that following online that are some people with some really gnarly views. Like, you have weirdly attracted some white nationalists, some...
Mr. Yang, you may know that white nationalists are supporting you online. They seem to have seized on some of your statements, which they say are proof that you are particularly concerned about white people.
Has it bothered you that it is a track that I noticed earlier this week you've had to push back on this idea? I guess some white supremacists started saying nice things about your candidacy.
How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Sean, and welcome back to Humanity First, where we cover Andrew Yang's presidential campaign and other noteworthy news stories in which we can expose some of the corrupt hilarity that is our mainstream establishment, right? And it's a good time to do so. It's also a good time to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Because, I mean, it's always fun to hang out in the comment section. Discord's located on our main channel page. You know, all that good stuff. Come on, man. Like the video. Join the club. You know what I'm saying? We're all friends. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway, let's get on with the story. So, my DMs were flooded from you guys asking me to cover the latest Yang media blackout. Well, it seems MSNBC is the latest and most frequent culprit. Now, they did the same thing to Lawrence Lessig and Bernie Sanders last year around, but even they had some coverage, right? So, except for a very select few interviews, the air quotes, liberal media has all but abandoned the most liberal of candidates. Yang is being completely ignored, except for when they bring him on to smear him about white nationalist claims, or he's so ignored they don't even show him on any of their polling graphics. I mean, like this one from a couple nights ago. Now, mind you, Andrew is polling about 6% and gaining on all national averages and hanging in with million-dollar ad buys and huge on-the-ground support. Yet they show other candidates who Yang has out-fundraised and out-polled consistently. Hell, even Kamala Harris isn't even in the race anymore. She's not even trying. I think Cory Booker is already out too, right? So MSNBC went on to post the unedited graphic on Twitter where they have far less reach of even most Minecraft YouTubers. You know what I mean? So, and of course that's by design. They don't want to reach a large amount of people. Only when they do is when they want to push their own candidate, right? So that's the reason why they put the actual graphics, which should be up on their main, televised broadcast. They'll put that on Twitter, where they have, hardly any followers between all the political pundits. Oh, man. So, and boom, here we go. Yang comes out and mocks the media, further backing up that Yang is against the status quo, where humanity's former hopeful, Mr. Sanders, had supported the very systemic corruption he claimed to oppose. And look, Bernie, that they're still trying to smear you, bro, with skewed coverage. You know what I mean? So, but it doesn't make it right, and no candidate deserves this. No candidate should have to come out and mock or correct mainstream media outlets. They should have journalistic ethics, but we know they don't. I have a bunch of screenshots that we can take a look at to prove the blackout, but Yang is the one left out the most, but other non-bought and paid for liberals also get shut out in different ways. Polling is a flawed tool using landlines and elderly boomer folks who are, easily manipulated by the mainstream. It's just a fact, If you look at all mainstream viewers are normally skewed to the older generation. The older generation normally isn't, in tune with what the younger generation has going on, right? Especially what's going on online. So we'd rather use the polling tools from landlines because it's easier for them to manipulate and make it look like their candidate is doing better. So, and it's all gotten out of hand. It's the reason mainstream media is dying and independent outlets like myself, Kyle Kalinske, Tim Pool are all rising. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And before I explain why Yang is the most important, let me showcase why the oh-so-wise, oh-so-great, and holier-than-thou media meddles in our elections and further perpetuates corruption. You can just look at some other examples besides Yang. For example, Tulsi Gabbard is only covered to be further smeared as a Russian asset or for the establishment to defend crooked Hillary, right? Otherwise, she isn't even mentioned except for Fox News, who has given her more airtime than any other mainstream shows combined. And no, just because she goes on Fox News doesn't make her less liberal or an asset or a conservative. No one else will even have her on, and her campaign is trailing the front runners, so she would take every opportunity she can to get on any network. It's just obvious. But that doesn't stop people like Joy Behar from telling her that, oh, well, you go on Tucker Carlson show all the time. Yes, because only people who have him on who isn't going to try to smear her openly and blatantly. Other people just don't ask. Imagine that, being a pro-war media outlet and like like they all are, and then having to acknowledge an anti-war soldier on your show. yeah, that challenges their narrative. So we're lucky we've got interviews of Tulsi. We're just lucky we could. Now, on the other hand, we have Bernie, who is only covered to show how much better the establishment candidate picks are, comparatively so, through skewed and cherry-picked data. So also one could argue that Biden and Pete Buttigieg are only doing better on a national average precisely because of these news outlets. Instead of being fair and balanced with ethical journalistic standards, they pick and choose who they want to have the most favorable coverage. Happens to be Biden, Warren, Pete Buttigieg. They want to have some options, you know what I mean? Because but they know neither one of the three could actually beat Trump. They just can't. Bernie has a chance, but being as he supported Crooked Hillary, that's really going to come back to bite him. So really, Yang is the only outlier who could actually do this and is gaining in the polls. And when it comes to Andrew Yang, it's crickets. It's literally nothing. The mainstream media did the same thing last election cycle, where they showed hours of Donald Trump's empty podium just for ratings and clicks. Every outlet is guilty of this, not just CNN, albeit they were the worst. Then you add the lopsided coverage of Hillary over Bernie, plus the DNC cheating Bernie out of winning, which then all combined to land us with Orange Boy, right? So this is why there is a Yang media blackout. He is rising every day. He has the largest online engagement out of everyone who has zero name recognition at the start. And while the media acknowledged this last time around with Bernie, albeit smearing him, they have all but abandoned Yang. Why? Well, because he has no billionaire donors. Much like Bernie and Tulsi don't either. However, Bernie and Tulsi are politicians. They have towed the party line before. But what's further is he doesn't have the same extreme left-leaning policies like Warren's Medicare, mandate. You have to have this medical coverage that's, only through the government, because we so trust the government to do everything right. You know what I mean? And he's not like that. He is a more common sense approach for everyday American. And he knows the math and corrects anyone who challenges him, and he can actually bring about the change we need while uprooting this corrupt system of trickle-down economy that started with Bush. And the way you do that is to make a VAT tax, or value-added tax. Not VAT tax, it's like saying tax twice. But then also flushing out the big money lobbyists with democracy dollars. The establishment is running scared of him because they see the numbers. Every time he gets on screen, he swells with support. Him and Bernie have the largest grassroots campaign. Unlike Yang, though, Bernie supporters supported systematic corruption instead of a recount when Hillary cheated him. They know that Bernie, when it comes down to it, will fight for one watered-down change instead of going for a huge host of policy changes. And in the end, he will do the bidding of the establishment, and that is why they don't completely smear him at this time around, even if they don't cover him all the time. And subsequently the reason he supported said corruption, so the establishment wouldn't give him somewhat of a shot this time around, right? So, he's trying to play ball a little bit with them. And after everyone else they prop up fails, Bernie might be the pick, but Pete has to fall first, and then Biden has to fall, and then Warren has to fall, and then it'd be Bernie. And then we might have a shot at beating Trump, but the thing is, you shouldn't just make a decision based off who could just beat Trump. You should put party first. You should put your ideas first. And if the media would cover everybody naturally, a lot of the ideas Andrew Yang has is a majority of what the populace thinks as well. So the blackout for Yang is far blacker than that of Bernie's. So make sure you tell the Bernie bros that. They're so mad that media isn't covering Bernie as much. Well, oh well, you know what I mean? There's more genuine candidates out there who are completely blacked out. And only due to the fact that Yang is not a career politician and they are scared of what he represents. You don't believe me? Well, look, let's take a look at some of these graphics dating all the way back to September. They pretend like he didn't raise $10 million from zero, like all the others who entered with huge war chests, right? He had zero. If establishment candidates would have increases like that, they'd be all over it. The people were and are sick and tired of all of this. That's the reason why they threw a monkey wrench into the system that was Donald J. Trump. So now many people have converted back to Sanders, while just as many have moved towards Yang and Tulsi. And what does the media do? They constantly rail against Trump on even the smallest things, to the point where even Trump haters see the blatant bias. Now they pump up Biden's failing campaign with constant coverage, but he just doesn't bring in the ratings like Trump did. Plus, no one cares, and I'll tell you why. Yes, Biden is leading. He is the front runner, but only because of the constant coverage and the fact that he's a well-known Obama's VP. He had name recognition and Obama hasn't even given Biden his endorsement yet, so that should be pretty telling. While Obama's out there touting UBI, you know what I mean? So take that for what it's worth. And every time that Biden opens his mouth, he says some dumb statement that is totally disconnected from the populace, like what people should be doing to help their children is playing the record player at night. What? You know, like, come on, dude. Come on. Yet the media still props him up, and because Biden will do the bidding of the corporations, as well as Pete, as well as Warren, that's the reason why they prop him up. It's borderline racism. Yang is doing better than the bottom half and could do much better, but yet the media is still openly and blatantly smearing him or refusing to acknowledge his rise, and this is all by design. Is it due to his race or his lack of being bought and paid for? Either way, I strongly encourage you to email the owner of Comcast, who is inadvertently owns MSNBC, and to urge him to hold his journalists to ethical standards and stop this borderline racism while meddling in our elections. People are onto it, and the fact that they do it this blatantly is just a testament to their power and how nothing but the failure of ratings and money could do that. Maybe we need to access their advertisers. The mainstream media wants to go after YouTubers and their advertisers all the time because they challenge them, right? Because people watch YouTube commentators way more than mainstream media. Maybe that's what's going on, And now that I think about it, maybe big tech hiding the fact that Yang is viable couldn't be a coincidence, huh? Well, couldn't be, right? Anyway, stay tuned, guys. I should have another story coming out this afternoon, potentially a live stream. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, all that YouTube stuff. Anyways, all right, guys. Gang, gang, and I'll see you soon.